Initial test of this JVC VCR. Initial test. All right. No clock. All right. Belts it is. It did wind in, so the take-up might be working. It might just be the capstan. Let's go fast forward. Okay. Rewind. Gross. Well, that appears to be the case. This is dangly and gross. That, I'm assuming, is for the digital counter. That looks okay. I think that's the only belt on the bottom side here. Oh, nope, there's one here. This is probably, yeah, this is for loading the tape. That feels okay, and it was working. So that's, let me grab a cheap Amazon belt. Caked. Absolutely. Oop. Just caked on there. Okay. Enough video. Let's actually do this. Well, now it's just freaking out. Where's eject? Alright, where's the mode switch on this thing? Never mind, this just wasn't turning all the way. I think as far as mode switches are concerned, it's just all these open contact switch contacts here. Very old school. Before I go any further, what I'm going to do is replace this belt here because it's slipping, the eject belt, and I'm going to clean and put some lubrication on these gears and on the paths for the tape guide, just to give this the best chance it has, and we'll see what it does. I don't know JVCs at all. This feels wrong to me. I'm going to document why I feel it's wrong, and please comment why I'm an idiot. I don't have a belt that size, but the belt actually feels okay. I boiled it thinking I could probably get away with it, but the issue is, so this direction here is loading the tape guides. As you can see, they're moving outwards. Now, if I start going back the other way, you will see that these eventually hit the end. See, the one on the left moves in and then sort of binds. See, it moves back out a little. And the one, yeah, see, it kind of boops a bit out. And now both have bound. Now, if you look down underneath, you see that little white piece of plastic. That is what engages a metal piece. This is that metal piece right here. And it presses that switch, that little micro switch, to tell the VCR it's reached its position. Now, if I go and start turning and turning, right there, that's where the two guides bind up. And at this point, like, it is really hard. I'm not spinning it. I got to push a lot of force to get that switch. If you can see there, see it's bound up and the contacts aren't making. And I really, like, I'm pushing hard. I'm putting a lot of pressure on something in here. All right, I went and had a think on this, and I realized what I'm doing wrong. When I removed, now let's go to the other side here. When I removed this plastic assembly here, it has a gear slippy. Yeah, get out of here. It has a gear on the bottom. See that meshes with 2 metal gears. See, there are actually 2 of them. And what those do is those are those little planetary gears that go around on either side, and there's 1 per guide. And this is the guide that presses that switch. And see, it's got the spring load tension there. So what I need to do is I need to preload the tension on here when I install this back after I boiled the belt. I boiled the belt. I didn't have the right size kicking around. Yep, that was just user error. Preloading the tape guide when I install this, which is probably common knowledge for people who know these machines, worked a treat. So now, where's play?
And what was that? Curiously, she said we had roughly the same build. From the waist up, I imagine.
Perfect. Now I just need to focus on all the other issues. As you can see, the servo was not locking in. That could be this belt. That could be all the garbage on the surface of this flywheel from the old belt, all the mold and corrosion. Everything in this needs a cleaning. The belts need to be replaced.
On arrival, he intends to establish residence.
Pretty hefty.
Some dirt in the video head drum. Where's my play?
Keep reading.
His legal wife, former Sally Ann Kavanaugh.
No search. Oh, wait. There it goes. Wasn't doing it earlier. So this acts like the Sony early, or I guess pretty much all the Sony Betamax VCRs I've used, where it actually disengages the pinch roller and just does a freewheel fast forward scan. So watch this.
Oh, isn't it?
Sally Ann can confirm all this when the police... me off, plot me in the car, and burn
Pretty
me up.
cool. So I've confirmed what I wanted to see. This is working. It's coming back to life. Everything is stiff and old and dusty. So I've been lubricating what I can. Picture is decent. Okay. People are going to hate me for this. I didn't clean the head or the tape path. I didn't. I like seeing how clean these things are, or not clean they are otherwise. Plus, it's shooting a bunch of dirt everywhere on this tape. This tape is a second one. I have 2 copies of Fletch for some reason, so new test tape. See how long this one lasts. Yeah, look at these little flecks of dirt just spitting out and causing these dropouts. So, yeah, this is going to need to run for a bit. Actually, it's a pretty sweet-ass pause.
What the heck? Same bone structure.
You son of a...
Slow motion. So what I have is, what do I got? Slow. I just have a slow speed. I don't have a slow tracking. Slow right down. Is this allowed on YouTube anymore? Yeah, okay. That's not... I was so happy making progress on this VCR. I actually ordered a belt kit, so should be getting that soon. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to tackle this display. Let's try the simple stuff first. Just check for cold solder joints, maybe anything visual on here that I can see. Then maybe grab the multimeter, make sure we're getting the correct voltage. And then I see this. I go, oh, someone had the same idea. Looks like they've resoldered this section. And then I see that. Oh, come on. That's just depressing. It's broken. It's gone to air. There is nothing I can do to get this vacuum fluorescent display to work. She's done. The only hope I could have is to find a sacrificial VCR with a similar display, which actually I think I had. Oh man, I think I recycled an old JVC, but you know, there's a very low chance. It would have to be this exact display. Anyway, yeah, I guess I'll wait till the belt kit comes in, and as far as functionality goes, I just don't have a VFD. Oh, that's sad, man. Who the hell was in here? Because, like, that doesn't break easily. This is protected inside here. Someone was messing around. Maybe the display wasn't working and then they were in here messing with stuff. That's definitely possible. The guy I bought this from seemed to think, oh yeah, it works fine. I called BS. And it was especially funny because I went to test it out and it wasn't working. He's like, that's weird. It should be working. And I opened the tuner door here and this note was inside. So somebody somewhere at some point, maybe him or someone else, knew that this didn't work. I actually watched this on Marketplace for a while. I think it started out at something crazy like it was either $200 or $500. And I thought it was absolutely hilarious. I was kind of, you know, for a reasonable price, I was tempted, obviously not for that. And it kept dropping. Got to 100, okay, got to 80, got to 60. I think it got to like 40, and then I offered what I thought was reasonable. Given its state, it was pretty dirty and in rough shape. And yeah, it turns out it didn't even work anyway. So these old machines are really not worth all that much if they need work. Because there's the cost of the belt kit. There's the cost of your time troubleshooting any electronic gremlins. There's other unforeseen problems that could make the whole thing worthless. There's always that risk. You know, if there's a damaged head or rotary transformer or a busted VFD. So I'm not really big into paying much for these machines, especially if they're either untested or, oh, put a tape in and it ate the tape. It could be an easy fix, but it also might not be. And working, you know, once I get this thing up and running, let's say it had a working VFD, it's still not worth all that much. It's really only for collectors. These are good performing machines, but let's be honest, it's not going to someone who wants to set up a VCR beside their TV to watch some VHS every once in a while. It's a monster. It's a beast. It doesn't have hi-fi. So as far as digitizing old videos, this is probably not the best one to use. You're going to get better picture, better processing, better audio from a newer, and reliability from a newer machine. So, I mean, this is more like a classic car to me. It's worth what someone's willing to pay for it, but they're not buying it for practical purposes, or at least I'm not. Tangent over. Believe it or not, this is the crappy belt that was slipping on me earlier. I don't know what I did. I think I just worked in all the old crappy grease. You know, I never got a shot of this before with this little metal RF shield in place. There you go.
2 weeks later.
Belts have arrived. Tried someone new this time. This has 3 square belts. So this will be the tape guide loading, probably the front loading, that's the counter, and then this flat belt will be for the capstan. Wow. Wow, what a difference. Still takes a bit of time to lock in the servo there.
Hello? Anybody home?
That could be normal, that could be aging. I would wager a guess that it's just capacitors that have drifted over time, so timing's already a little bit out. But yeah, man, is that belt ever better. And it feels better. This is a proper, soft, evenly machined belt. It is night and day different from this shiny, inconsistent, cheapo Amazon belt. So now I just need to do these. And it's an absolute pain in the butt because I have to take this mechanism out, this little gear assembly out, and then I have to remove one of these stupid little C-clips. Last time I did that, I lost this one for a while until I found it again. So there's always a risk that I'll lose it and then I'll have to order one of those sets. How's it going, Mr. Spider? You don't look so well. Alright, front loading mechanism is out, just 4 screws. And here's the underside. First impressions, this idler tire is shiny looking, but it has got so much grip and it feels very soft. So I think this is doing a bang up job. Tension band looks intact, brakes look okay. I was wrong about this being for the counter. Not entirely too sure what's going on with this here, what this does. Maybe there's something on here. No. No, I don't know. It's got a little tire on the bottom. There's also one here. So I'm wondering if this engages in play. But this is weird. Look, there's wires going to the tension arm. And it looks like it's got something on there. And I don't know what this is. Is this the dew sensor? Oh. It's covered in something. Gross. Okay, well that definitely needs to be cleaned. I don't know what this is. I'm going to assume it's the dew sensor. Someone please correct me. Because I would assume a machine of this age would have had one. The Panasonic variants did. Yeah, I'm not really going to do anything under here at all. I'll clean the goop up off there. Do a bit more cleaning of the tape transport. But yeah, that seems fine. Well, good enough for now. And here's the absolutely barbaric looking front loading mechanism. It's chain drive. Like, it's driven by an actual chain. Cool. Just need to get this belt out. Looks like it'll be as much of a pain as that other one. Relubricate everything, and we're good to go. Well, I guess there's a problem with the servo locking in. I was trying some home recorded SP tapes and it couldn't lock in the Capstan speed. And I'm trying a home recorded EP tape and it wasn't locking in at all. And all I did was lift it up and slam it a few times and all of a sudden it started locking in. So I've noticed some loose connections in the tuner. I might go through and check all the connectors for all these cables. Maybe a loose connection and a weak signal coming from the head here. See. Yeah, now it's not locked in at all. Oh, you know what? Is it just lifting it? Yeah. Further diagnosis is required. Remember Excite? If you ever wanted to know what an EP recording looks like on an SP width head, here you go. You can see all the noisy crosstalk from, I believe it's coming from the adjacent tracks. Quite noisy. So it's kind of locking in sometimes. With every tape it takes a while to lock the servo in. Right now this is an LP tape, and when it is playing, it's playing nicely, but sometimes it has an unstable tracking, and I'm wondering if the audio sounds fine, so I don't think it's the Capstan. Like, the audio sounds nice and stable, but I mean, I guess it could be. Let's see. Oh, now of course it locks in just fine. Try play again. There we go. So it's playing at LP speed, but it takes a while to lock in. See, it's slowing down, and there we go. Now it's locked in. Overall, very impressed. When it is working, the SP picture is great. EP picture is decent. Even the LP picture on this thing is quite nice. And got the tuner tuned in.
Yeah. I've always been seen as an underdog, any sort of challenge.
I heard you say something.
A little fuzzy, little weak. These old 80s reactor diode tuners were like that. See, and this tape locked in just fine. So I don't know what's going on here. It's stop. This is another EP recorded tape. Hit play.
Of course, that's all it took for the Bureau to begin covering Lennon the way the Wall Street Journal covers the stock exchange. When John and Yoko moved to...
That's really good. Pause is not as good as that Fisher.
The official surveillance began.
It's working decently here.
Same day.
Let's do a rewind.
Yoko had a daughter by a previous marriage, and John claimed that Yoko's ex-husband...
That's fantastic. So let's go back to that tape that was causing me problems. When I say the tuner's got some loose connections, it's a little loose. Put the tracking in the middle. Let pause so the TV can lock into a signal, and then hit play again. It just doesn't like this tape. So now, see, it's on the SP heads. If I hit play, now I let it lock into EP. So it's using the EP heads. Still not as clean of a picture. I'm still having trouble with it locking in. It still takes too long, and I did notice on some EP recordings that the audio was still uneven. So now I have taken some fine grit sandpaper and I've cleaned up all that old caked on black corrosion from the belt off of the Capstan flywheel here. So I'm gonna oil this spot, give this a full tune-up, and I may try and oil the Capstan motor as well. And I don't know how well it's coming off. There's also a lot of crap on that wheel. So giving the full Capstan system a complete makeover. It's a little noisy. Lots caked on there. Alright, cleaned off the black crud and got some new oil down into the front bearing. I don't know if it sounds quieter, but it definitely free spins more. The back bearing is all riveted closed, I can't get to it, so hopefully this is enough.
Hoover, this truly remarkable man has served his...
I guess it's better. Let's try this once more.
To Richard Nixon with a threat to the national security, and that's the basic problem.
Oh, you know what?
FBI.
That actually is better. Hold on. Okay, it was weird that it didn't work at first, but I scuffed these up a little bit. They try to help, but sometimes you gotta help the tape in there. They don't quite grab it. Old rubber.
At 48 ounces, the human brain is truly a marvel of nature. Its ability to store and compute information rivals that of the most complex. It has, for example, developed the concepts of space and time.
Has just invented an 800 service so affordable that for only $6 a month, you can have your own.
Okay, that's actually not bad. Let me try the tape that was giving me problems. Real moment of truth. Nope. No good. Nice pause when it's in the right mode, but if I hit play... Huh, it won't even play on this VCR.
Team that uncovered Badgeman, and a former soldier never filmed before who describes dodging bullets, fire...
Alright, you know what? I think I was going and chasing my tail with this. That was a gunged up old crappy tape that I found that I was using as a test tape. That's going in the garbage. I'm going to grab some other EP recordings just to verify, but I think this is doing okay. It seems to lock in a lot faster now that I've oiled the Capstan motor, cleaned the surface of the flywheel and everything that the belt touches, oiled the Capstan itself. Now it's doing much better.
Grassy Knoll. Who pulled the trigger that killed the president?
Still not great, but I mean, much better. And the only tape it can't play is also giving me problems on my other VCR. So, yeah. I think this is just about good to go.
Rodeo, you'll see the rankest, roughest, meanest bulls and brontos ever assembled. Daring bullfighter clown, as full as bull. Pro rodeo at its best. Get tickets at the box office. Ticketmaster outlets are charged by vote. The Longhorn World Championship Rodeo, only at the Palace of Auburn Hills. This is why they call it horsepower.
I'm the king.
Rock and roll?
No, coupons. I'm Mike Gothier.
So adjust the tracking.
The king of coupons because nobody
One
brings
way.
you bigger savings than my market share coupon book.
The other way.
Costly car repairs by going to Uncle Ed's Oil Shop. They not only change oil, but replace worn out transmission fluid and filter in just 15 minutes. So look for big savings at Uncle Ed's Oil Shop and my market share coupon book.
It's kind of difficult getting the tracking right in the middle of where this is. I either get some noise along the top here or on the bottom. So I'm wondering if I need to do a little fine tuning here. Yep, adjustment was just off a little bit. So now I can turn the tracking all the way to one side,
4 years ago, I don't do tours.
in the middle, and a little bit to the side there.
She went to number 1.
Yeah, it was just the tape guide on the exit of the video head drum. So the bottom part here, that's why there was that line.
I don't care what the publisher wants.
Great. Still get a line and pause, but hey, you know, it's the old school forehead. You're not going to get perfect. Yes, I'm very happy with this. I'm going to run a few more tapes through this just to make sure it's doing well. But otherwise, it's great. Is it set to line in? It is set to line in. There we go, and I can change the audio.
Italy, the Super G World Champion.
Suicide mission, huh, Chief? Well, you've picked the right man.
PetSmart. Treats members get more. Sign in today in PetSmart.
Sally Decker has no record. Sally was formerly...
It's funny, when I was taking a look at the VFD, I saw this discoloration in the top corner here. And you normally see that when these go to air. I didn't even think about it until I saw the nipple on the back broken. But yeah, in hindsight, that's not a good sign. Here it is, the JVC HR-7650U, which was an absolute marvel of fancy features when it came out. So for context, I believe this is the first JVC VCR that was a front loader. It was not the first with the EP speed, but it was definitely pretty early in that sense, being from 1982. This does have a wireless remote, although I don't have it, and I'm not sure I'm willing to spend the shipping costs from eBay. Unfortunately, my Harmony remote has a 7650 and similar VCRs in the library, but it tries to give me newer sets of codes that have like DVD record and all these other features. I think someone assumed that an HR-7600 and HR-7650 were from the same era and just copied the codes over. So yeah, this uses earlier JVC VCR codes that I haven't been able to find on the Harmony system yet. Unfortunately, as I went through earlier in the video, somebody necked the VFD in here. So you can see a little white spot there on, I think that's the getter turning white from going to air. So this has no display. But yeah, let's take a look at the features here. You have a blinking light when it's playing, and it blinks faster when it's fast forwarding or rewinding. This has noise reduction, Dolby noise reduction, because it is a linear stereo model. Tape end, this turns on when it gets close to the end of the tape. In typical JVC fashion, it supported two speeds, SP and EP. JVC never supported LP other than a simple playback. LP was a Matsushita Panasonic invention that JVC never really supported. They just went straight to EP. And I kind of understand why. This is a 4-head model, and when JVC added EP, the 1/3 the speed of SP, the slower recording speed, they added heads to support it. And the idea was you have a set of heads with the correct width for SP and a set of heads with the correct width for EP. So the idea of supporting a third useless speed, it didn't really make sense. And I kind of agree with that, because all the times in the past when I tried to record with LP thinking, oh, I got better picture quality than EP, but I can still fit more than SP, the quality difference was minor. And it really depends on the VCR that you're playing it back to. LP's kind of a bit of an oddball. But yeah, the JVC standard and all the VCR manufacturers that followed them, 2 speeds. Panasonic supported LP, I think even into the 2000s on some models. At the very least, the late 90s. So we got the power switch, which supports soft power on-off on the remote. So if you leave it on here, you can turn it on and off with the remote. Timer, which of course will spit the tape out because this is a pre-recorded movie with the record tab missing. RF modulator. This does support insert editing for audio dub. All these old machines supported audio dub. I think the manufacturers thought people would be more interested in recording with a microphone and dubbing audio over the recordings. This feature really went away on the typical consumer models and became more of a high-end feature only. Because this is 4-head and high-end, it does have frame advance, it does have slow motion. All these features here, counter, dimmer, clock set, none of those I'm going to be able to demonstrate because I don't have a display. But it does have a 16 preset tuner, so 2 to 13 on VHF plus 4 UHF presets. And it is electronic varactor diode. This door, unfortunately, is kind of busted. So this plastic's really brittle. Taking a look here, we have a headphone jack. We have the microphone inputs for left and right, or channel 1 and channel 2 as it was called on the linear stereo models. Now this does support, I believe, index. So on counter you have, oh, this is noise reduction, so you have Dolby noise reduction, which was standard on linear stereo models. So for the counter now, I'm sorry, this is search. So yeah, this is the index feature. So Q, off, and counter. Counter, I believe, just does the counter memory, so it'll stop when the counter hits 0. Q will look for the next index mark. Insert, I don't know if that's related to the index or if that's like an insert video. Because I think it's related to this now that I think about it, not audio dub. Audio record select. So this has to do with, I've mentioned it in the past and a lot of people on YouTube have talked about it. It's called simulcast. And the idea was this VCR supports stereo, but broadcast TV didn't support it yet. Not for another few years. So a lot of TV stations, when they had music concerts or movies being aired, they would buddy up and partner up with an FM radio station. And that FM radio station would broadcast the audio. So what you could do is you could hook up an FM tuner that had stereo to the audio line in on here. And this switch basically says, okay, my audio, what's it coming from? Is it coming from the tuner or is it coming from the line? So when I flip this switch,
Or move it. You're a key to our...
it keeps the video from the tuner, but inserts the audio from the line in, so it's a mix. Slow speed, this adjusts the speed of the slow motion feature. Tracking vertical hold, which I haven't been able to make do anything, so I guess my TV's got a good vertical lock. IR sensor for the remote. And then here we've got audio monitor. Because this is stereo, you can set it to channel 1 or channel 2 or stereo. This is actually a lot more useful on these linear stereo models because depending on how the recording is, the audio track is so narrow on the tape and it's now split into 2 parallel channels that, you know, if this is recorded on a mono VCR that was slightly too high or too low, then, you know, for example, channel 1 might be nice and bright sounding and channel 2 might be muffled and hissing. So sometimes on mono recordings or even stereo recordings, linear stereo recordings, you get a better sound quality if you pick one of the channels instead of both. But I found that pretty much every pre-recorded tape that was ever made was still recorded with linear stereo, hi-fi and linear. So watching pre-recorded movies on this, you still get a pretty decent stereo sound. And record select. This is your line in selector. So this has 2 line ins. This has auxiliary, which is your composite line in on the back with RCA jacks, and camera with an EIAJ jack. This is old enough to have one. And I have a camera we can test out on this. I have plugged in the camera into the front and selected camera, and you can hear me through the microphone on the camera. If I get close, get a bit of feedback there. Now, unfortunately, this camera is sepia only. I did a video on this. It came with an RCA convertible VCR. It's made by Hitachi. It's actually a really cool camera. It has an Indextron viewfinder, so it has a CRT viewfinder, but it's color. When I look in the viewfinder right now, of course, I just see a rainbow effect because, you know, it needs repair. But yeah, you can plug in the old school cameras onto this because this is from an era when you could buy just the cameras. Let's see here. The zoom button doesn't work. It works on the regular part of the camera. Look at the size of this thing. It's an absolute beast. The zoom buttons work on the top here. Where are they? There. They work there. They don't work on the handle. This needs some repair. I might do a video of it at some point. Definitely cool though. And it is supported on this VCR, which is nice. So I've been putting off making this video because I've been having an issue with this. So it's been sitting on the bench. I've just been watching movies on it. And most of the time it works great. The previous section of this video shows I replaced all the belts, cleaned and lubricated everything. But it seems to have an electronic problem where sometimes the servo has trouble locking in to the signal on the tape. Let's see what it does here. There you go. So you see that tracking going in and out. That's the servo hunting. The servo circuitry for the Capstan motor. And sometimes it locks in great, sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't seem to be specific to EP or SP tapes. I went, down a rabbit hole trying to find it, and I can't find a service manual on this. Or at least one for, a price I'm willing to pay to get this guy working. So, I don't know, might put some feelers out here. If anyone knows where I can find some information as to where the servo circuitry and adjustments are on this. I'm kind of green on that sort of service. I've done it on those early Sony front loaders, but every VHS machine I've worked on has just been fine. I've never needed to mess with it. Other than that, all the other features work. Do a fast forward scan.
My name is a sneeze.
Do a rewind. Now I can pause. It's got a pretty clear pause with the nice 4 heads. Do a frame advance. I can go into slow motion. And that speed adjustment here, if I can turn it up. Going fast, going slow. These were all state-of-the-art features in the early 80s. But it holds up pretty well.
I owe you a great debt of gratitude, my friend. I am called Robin of Locksley.
See if the tracking will get it.
Father of a Jew.
Bless you.
No.
Yeah, it's just not going to lock in today. Anyway, I might still continue messing with it, but for now I just want to show this thing off because I'm going to shelve it for now because it's been frustrating me and I've pretty much given up on trying to get this servo issue working. Let's take a quick look at the tuner. So your standard electronic push button presets. I've programmed some channels in. We've got CBC, some of my other channels. So that's nice. And it's all done through the top here. And it's a little bit different than the ones I'm used to. I know Sony had a single point of control, but that was usually electronic with an up and down button. And then Panasonic and a lot of other brands just had individual adjustments for each preset. This has a single adjustment for all the presets. And the way this works is when you turn it into preset mode on, then you are, so I'll show you here. Right now I'm on my Simpsons channel. As soon as I turn preset on, it goes to CBC. Why does it do that? So as soon as you turn preset on, it goes to wherever this is tuned to. Because see, this is it's its own little tuner. So it has a switch to go between VHF low, VHF high, and UHF. And then you tune along those bands listed here. When you're done tuning, you push this knob down and it electronically stores that channel that you tuned in into memory in here. Because this is a varactor diode tuner, each channel can be just represented by a voltage on a band. So VHF low 2 to 6, that's a voltage range. And you just store electronically what that voltage is, so the EEPROM in here can go and, provide whatever voltage you're requesting for each preset. Pretty cool for 1982. But I don't like this because if I have a channel, let's say it's slightly off, I'm just a little bit off here. I want to just do a minuscule adjustment. I can't, because the moment I put it in like preset mode, it's wherever this tuner is. So if the last preset I tuned is nowhere near the channel I want to fix, I have to retune that channel every time. So yeah, I don't like this. This is stupid. And of course, we got to take a look at the back of this monstrous beast here. So this is where your RF modulator, or as they call it, RF converter, is located. So you stick a screwdriver in here to switch between 3 and 4. It's got a little recessed switch. Then your standard VHF in and out, UHF in and out. I'm using a little box to combine the signal since I have VHF and UHF channels. Video in, video out. And see, it's labeled here. Channel 2 is for audio dub. It's weird that channel 2 is labeled audio dub, not channel 1. Maybe if you just plug something in one of these, that acts as a mono. I know in modern stuff, usually the left is mono, but yeah, maybe on this one it's right. A little remote connection, which I believe is just remote pause, for maybe if you want to hook up a camera that doesn't have an EIAJ connection, you would hook it in through the line in, and then the remote pause goes there, so you can record Christmas in the same room as the VCR. It's the label on the back, HR-7650U. And yeah, not much to say on this thing. Of course, when it works just great. Great picture, great special effects. The stereo on the linear is nice and crisp. So it's not a bad machine. I'm still starting to suspect that it's the capacitors in the servo circuit. So at one point I will probably take that on, but for now it's going to get shelved. If anyone has any knowledge on these machines, my Googling has given me almost nothing. These don't have a lot of information out there on them for whatever reason, or if they do, they're on those old forums that just got lost to the ages. But if you know anything, please let me know, because I would love to get this thing working in tip-top shape. It's one of those historical pieces that I think is worth preserving. JVC being sort of the face of VHS, this being the most featureful machine from 1982. I don't know, I just think it's pretty cool.
How to change the belts. Don't forget about that trick of preloading part of the split gear.
I did, Dave. I did. I forgot.